This video is brought to you by Skillshare. What's going on, guys? Anastasio here with flightpath.com. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been asking for some footage comparisons between the Mavic Air 2 and something like the Mini, as well as against the Mavic 2 Pro. So I wanted to put together a few clips that I was able to capture with all three of these drones. They're on different days, but I was able to at least get the same path for each one of them when I was comparing them. So there would be a day where I'd put the Mavic Air 2 up against something like the Mavic 2 Pro, and then another day where I'm able to put up the Mavic Air 2 against the Mavic Mini. I was able to get a few clips, so in this video I'm going to put them side by side just to show you some of the differences out of the box, what these look like against one another. So with that said, let's get into the video. And if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Anastasio. I do a lot of drone tech tips, tutorials, and product reviews right here on this channel. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing and also hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. And I've shot a few comparisons in the past, and there's a few things I want to kind of set the stage before you watch the footage. I think a lot of the times when I show side-by-side comparisons, people will always just kind of pick one or the other. But I think there's a couple things you need to know before you watch the video. The Mavic Air 2 does shoot in 4K. I'll be shooting at 4K 30. The Mavic 2 Pro, I'll be also shooting at 4K at 30 frames a second. However, the Mavic Mini only shoots at 2.7 at 30, so this is going to be upscaled to 4K. Now, of course, if you're not watching it in 4K, if you're watching on your phone, you're going to be watching it in 720 or 1080 anyways. You're not really going to notice it, all of this being downscaled anyways. But if you are looking at 4K, just know that this is a 2.7 upscale to 4K. And I'm also going to be shooting in auto mode in all of these. So it'll be shooting in auto mode when it comes to setting the auto shutter and auto ISO on all of them, also auto white balance. And the main reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show you exactly what you're going to get out of the box without having to touch any dials, without having to touch any exposure. I think a lot of times people will show you some of the footage that comes out of here, which is great. They'll show you what it looks like after they've post-processed it. But the thing is, everyone has their own way of post-processing. Everyone has their own way and style of what kind of color they want their footage to be. So I don't want to show you something that's already been processed. I want to show you what it looks like out of camera. Because I think that's what people want to know. What does it look like before it is touched in post-processing in something like your editing program like Final Cut or Premiere? So if you are a little bit more advanced and you do some post-processing or color grading in your footage, then this shouldn't be anything new for you guys. But just know that they actually do shoot in a flat profile as far as the Mavic Air does. This does shoot in a decine-alike, and then the Mavic 2 Pro shoots in a log format. So let's get into it. Let me show you guys some side-by-side clips, and at the end of the video I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what I think about each one of these platforms. Now, I was also able to shoot on some of the flat profiles on the Mavic Air 2 in D-Cinelike, as well as the Mavic 2 Pro with D-Log. But before we get into that footage, a quick message from our sponsor. Now, with everything going on in the world right now, this is definitely a good time for you to kind of sharpen up or enhance some skills or even learn new skills. Now, with the way everything is going as far as learning goes, Skillshare is an online learning community with membership, and it's really designed for that busy person and designed for the real world. Now, when I first got onto Skillshare, I wanted to first see how I can better tell a story, and I found Jevin Dovey's How to Vlog course. And most recently, I've been watching Jeff Staples' class on branding, from purpose to product. Definitely one you want to watch if you're looking at how to enhance your brand. So thanks Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and the first 500 of my subscribers to click that link down below in the video description will get 2-month free trial of premium membership. Now back to the video. And there it is, guys, just some footage I was able to capture with the Mavic Mini, the Mavic Air 2, as well as the Mavic 2 Pro. Now, if you guys are familiar with my channel, you might have seen some of that similar footage that I shown when I was comparing the Mavic 2 Pro versus the Autel 6K 1-inch version. Now, when I was shooting that video, I was actually shooting also with the Mavic Air 2, so that's why some of those clips might look familiar if you guys have seen those. What I've noticed in some of my previous comparisons is that people will automatically start judging one look over the other because they are side by side. So it's very easy to see those differences. But if you are shooting with, say, something like even like the Mavic Mini, your footage will look consistent across the board. So people aren't really gonna notice, oh, you shot that with a specific type of drone, one over the other. So I wouldn't worry too much about it here. Of course, it's a little bit more obvious seeing a side-by-side comparison for you to kind of pick and choose and be a little bit more nitpicky about. Now, when we're comparing the Mavic Mini versus the Mavic Air 2 and we're looking at that footage, you can definitely see that there's a lot more dynamic range with the Air 2. If you're looking at some of the sky, a lot of it is kind of blown out in a way with the Mavic Mini versus the Air 2. I'm able to see a lot more of that horizon on there, as well as some of the clouds. And then the Mavic Mini kind of overexposed some of those areas and then underexposed some other areas. So you can definitely see some of that dynamic range being brought out on the Mavic Air 2. Also, when shooting just in a normal profile, the same way that the Mini shoots, there's definitely a lot more contrast out of camera on the Mini than there is on the Mavic Air 2. Now, when you look at the Mavic Mini footage, you can definitely see that there is some processing going on. You can definitely see some of the dark areas a little bit too dark, and also some of the bright areas a little bit too bright, where the Mavic Air can kind of balance out that range a little bit better. Now, of course, you can adjust some of the things now, especially the manual settings on the Mavic Mini, which is really nice that they're able to adjust video and photo manual settings when it comes down to shutter speed as well as ISO. And of course, you can also do the exposure compensation. And if you have filters and things like that, they'll definitely enhance how your video will look. Now, if you are using those manual settings, you're probably a little bit more advanced than most. I have a bunch of videos talking about shutter speed, how to use ND filters and things like that. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, make sure you guys check out that playlist above as well as down below. Now, when it came down to the footage from the Air 2 versus the Mavic 2 Pro, honestly, I thought that the Air 2 did really well. Now, like I said, if you're actually putting footage side by by side, you can tell there is a slight edge to the Mavic 2 Pro. Now out of the box, I think the Mavic Air 2 came out really good. I think if I showed you guys the footage just without putting the labels down there, you might not be able to tell. And I'm happy with the flat profile, the D-Cinelike, very similar to the D-Log on the Mavic 2 Pro. You are able to work with it a little bit more in post. Some of the other drones, like the Evo ones that I was able to shoot on their flat profiles, they were almost so desaturated, it was hard to bring back almost any color. These actually have a pretty good profile to work with if you are doing some color grading. And there it is, guys. Just want to show you some side-by-side footage of these three right here. I know a lot of you guys have been requesting for it. I'll of course go into more detail in my future videos. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about some of the pros and cons of the Mini versus the Air 2, and also the pros and cons of the Air 2 against the Mavic 2 Pro. So if you guys want to see those videos, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And of course, if you guys got value from this one, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Alger Anastasio with flightpath.com. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.